Good afternoon, Year 5, and welcome to PHSE. So today we are thinking all about kindness. So as a little start, I want you to imagine that you are watching a fashion show. So here's the runway, the catwalk, and you are sat in the audience. I want you to think of what kindness would look like coming down this fashion show. It could be in what someone's wearing, it could be in how they're acting, it can be in the job that they do, it can be about how they get onto stage. I know this is very abstract, but think about, what does kindness actually look like? Pause the video and have a quick think about this before we talk about where we see kindness in our world. Okay, so let's answer this question. What does kindness look like? If we were to see this in a fashion show, what would kindness look like? So it could look like people's jobs, knowing that the police, doctors, nurses, teachers even show kindness to people. We look after people, we care for people. That could be on your catwalk. It could be how someone gets onto the catwalk, about being respectful and letting someone come down the stairs before you go up the stairs. That could have been at your fashion show. Kindness could be perhaps someone, the first person down the runway dropped something and the second person picked it up. Could look like that for kindness. A fashion show, you would normally expect people to be showing off. But if they were showing off kindness, do we think that actually would be kind? We're going to come back to that thought. So perhaps we wouldn't see anyone particularly showing off. Maybe we'd see pupils helping each other out. Maybe we'd see a school community on our catwalk. So although kindness is very abstract and we'll never see a fashion show of kindness, it's got us thinking. What outfits and what uniforms would model kindness? Does it make us less kind if it's actually our job to do those things? How would we tell if a pupil was being kind? What clues might you see? And how is that show-off person, that look at me person, maybe not so kind? Some questions for you to think about. So let's have a think about your experiences then. Think of a time where you have been kind. Did you do it to earn something, like a sticker or a treat, or did you do it because it was the right thing to do? Have you ever done something kind without expecting any reward or recognition? Was the reward for being kind actually kindness itself? Did it make you feel good? Was it rewarding to do something kind for someone else? So I want to dig deeper into that, because in life, we get rewards for lots of things. We get house points, we may get prizes, we may win awards. But actually, is it wrong to reward people for being kind? Is that something we should just expect of people and not specifically reward them if they are kind? But what about this question? Is there a way that kindness has its own sort of reward? It might not be money or a gift or chocolate or a postcard home, but actually the reward of being kind should be something quite internal. It doesn't need to be something. However, it's important to recognize kindness. So as much as I'm saying maybe we shouldn't reward it, I absolutely think saying thank you to someone for being kind, or modeling kindness to someone else so that they can model it back to someone else, is incredibly important to actually recognize what kindness looks like. So over the next couple of weeks, I really want you to explore what building that kindness looks like. What does that look like in school? What does that look like in the community? Think about walking down that runway. How would you show kindness without expecting anything in return? And is it enough to know that you have been kind? So this week, even if you're at home, try and think about an act of kindness for someone else. Make sure you do it with no expectation of them rewarding you, or maybe even noticing initially, and see how it feels just to be kind, even if no one has noticed. Now I'm going to read a little poem, which I think is just a brilliant representation of kindness, and it's called Nothing to Lose. So just to introduce it, there were a few minutes left of the lesson and the class had been restless and Miss Hughes had become frustrated. In order to finish on a more positive note, she read the class a traditional poem. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of the shoe, the horse was lost. For want of the horse, the knight was lost. For want of the knight, the battle was lost. For want of the battle, the kingdom was lost. And all for the want of a horseshoe nail. Shola was last out to break. What a mess. Without anyone noticing, she picked up 3 bags, 4 coats, and 2 lunch boxes that had been knocked onto the floor as the class had bundled to the playground. Thanks to Shola, no lunches were lost. Thanks to the lunches, no tempers were lost. Thanks to the good moods, no playtime was lost. Thanks to the good games, no patience was lost. Thanks to the more patience, no learning was lost. Thanks to good learning, no smiles were lost. Thanks to the smiles, the parents were completely at a loss. Why did everyone seem different? Miss Hughes's smile seemed brighter, their children seemed calmer. Soon, even they began to feel more relaxed as they walked home. And all thanks to Shola, who wanted nothing in return. A really beautiful poem. So, as we finish with our PHSE lesson, you've got 2 options. You can either make a poster about what kindness looks like in the community and in the world and where you have seen it. Or as an extra challenge, why don't you write a verse of this poem about how one kind act can actually have such a big influence and a knock-on effect on lots of others. So you could go back in this video and pause on the poem, the second half, and write your own wanting for nothing poem and change the scenario, how one kind act can influence so many. So really well done. This is a really important lesson. So make sure you take your time to think through what kindness looks like.